Hey friend, if you watched this video, then you know that I had the absolute most horrible time over in Rome. So many bad things happened to me that I almost gave up. If you are thinking about taking a cruise out of Civitavecchia, Rome, Italy, and you want to know what to expect, then this video is going to help you out, because that video there, that was an anomaly. That was a whole bunch of stuff that just went totally wrong. But there were some good things that happened. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the 5 things that I loved about my cruise over in Civitavecchia and 5 things that I hated about my cruise over there. If you're ready, we're going to start right now. Hey friend, if you're new here, I'm Linnell and I live full-time on cruise ships. If you are wondering how I do this, how I afford it, why I decided to do it, and what cruise ships, what kind of cabins I actually live on, then go check out my very first video, which is linked in the video description. Also, if you would like to know how to live full-time on cruise ships on casino deals, I talk about that all in this channel on several different videos. I talk about alternative lifestyle and all kinds of content, so check out those. If you are thinking about living full-time on cruise ships without casino deals, there is another video that is linked in the video description. Of course, if you have any comments or questions, leave them below and I'll answer them. But right now, I'm going to talk about the 5 things that I love and the 5 things that I hated about taking this cruise out of Civitavecchia, Rome. So the first thing I want to talk about, of course, we want to talk about the things we loved, right? Because we just do. One thing was in the port, the terminal, and I took 2 cruises over there, one on Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas and one on Enchanted Princess, and it was the same on both. When you drop your luggage off, typically what you would normally do, at least on the cruise ships, all the cruise terminals that I've been on, all the cruise ships I've been on, you would drop your luggage off to the terminal, to the porters outside in the terminal as soon as you get out of your vehicle, and then they would take it, label it, or if you don't already have it labeled, and then they would take it into the terminal and it would get to your cabin. Okay. Here in Civitavecchia, you bring your luggage all the way inside the terminal, and then you give it to the porters. And normally there's, well, it depends on the cruise port, but there's typically 5, 10, 15 different porters out there. Here in this cruise port, there's only 3 to 4 porters who are grabbing the luggage and getting them ready to go onto the ship. So that was totally different, and I actually absolutely love that system better. All right, so then the next thing also had to do with the terminal, and that is the disembarkation. When it was time to get off the ship, normally when you get off, there is a line where you go through for passports, and this is in the US, which is mostly what I do, but also I had the same experience in Barcelona. You go through a line, and if you have your passport, then they check your documents. If you don't have a passport, if you have your birth certificate and ID, then they go through all your documents manually. If you have your passport, then they do the facial recognition and you walk on through. But here in Civitavecchia, they don't do none of that. You get off the ship, you scan your card or your, what's that thing called, medallion. I did a card on Royal Caribbean and medallion on Princess, and then you are done. You walk out the terminal. You don't go through Customs and Border Patrol. You are finished. I absolutely love that. And also, normally, when I get off a ship, I have to go and find transportation. Sometimes it's quite a little jog to get to the either cabs, Ubers, the shuttles, things like that. Here, no. As soon as you walk out the door, you either go. For me, I took 2 shuttles. One was a shuttle back to the train to go back into Rome, and one was a shuttle to go to the airport to come back to the US. In both cases, you walk out, the shuttle is right there as soon as you walk outside of the doors. that you didn't have to go through Customs and Border Patrol for. I love that. It was so super easy. The next thing that I absolutely loved about cruising in Rome was the ships that I was on. I was on Odyssey of the Seas. I was on Enchanted Princess. So I'm going to talk about the Enchanted Princess since that was the one that I most recently got off of. I absolutely love the food on Princess ships. And I say that because I've been on 4 different cruise lines: Princess, Holland America, Carnival, and what did I say? Princess, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Holland America, 4 cruise lines. And Princess has the best food of all 4 cruise lines, at least for my experience. The food is better quality. The food is more options. I'm thinking more buffet because I didn't do everything on the ship. I didn't do specialty dining and things like that. I'm thinking of the buffet, and I'm thinking of the included food venues. The food was tasted better, better quality, better seasoning, and more variety on Princess cruises. Now, the caveat to that would be Star of the Seas on Royal Caribbean. Star of the Seas had way more food, way more options, better quality, but to me, that's even exception to Royal Caribbean ships. Royal Caribbean ships don't have the same quality and type of, Star of the Seas is a whole cruise by itself. Okay, but for this video here, for this last experience that I have over in Rome, Princess food, top notch, yes. The other thing that I absolutely loved about this the cruise that I went on in Rome was the medallion technology that Princess has for its cruises. Now, yes, they have it on all their ships, but I'm talking specifically about this last cruise that I got off of because it made everything so convenient for me. The little medallion, you can get it, the free one that comes on a lanyard, you can get it as a bracelet, you can get it as a necklace, and it made life so much easier. The first thing was when you go into your cabin, it automatically opens your door when you're about 10 feet away. So even if your hands are full with things, you don't have to try and scan it. You don't have to worry about a card trying to stick it into the slot like on most cruise ships. You just open the door, everything's great. So that medallion, you also use it for other things all around the ship, whether it be for the casino, if you're ordering things, if you're like ordering drinks, if you are buying merchandise out of the shops, when you're getting on and off the ship, the medallion it's just so convenient, and I'm just in love with that little circle. And then the last thing that I absolutely loved about this last cruise that I went on doesn't really have so much to do with the actual ship or the port, but it's just the fact of the timing of when I was able to go to the pool and hot tub. And I went when everyone else had already gotten off the ship. I took 2 cruises, as I said. I got off in Kuşadası, Turkey, which I took a port tour in Ephesus because the book of Ephesians, I wanted to see where Paul walked and all that good stuff. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to that video in the video description. But this was the first time where I ever had a whole pool and I've had hot tubs to myself, but I spent 2 hours of just me time, just relaxing, enjoying, sitting out on the pool deck in the adult only area, swimming in the pool, getting in the hot tub, just relaxing, decompressing, and just enjoying my own little utopia. So if you ever get a chance, no matter what city you're in, port you're cruising out of, what cruise line you're on, if you ever get to stay on board a ship when everybody else has gotten off, listen, that is healing for your soul, baby. Those 2 hours were probably the most memorable 2 hours I've ever had on a cruise ship. All right, so that leads us to the things that I absolutely hated about my last couple weeks about my trip to Rome. One was getting to, now this isn't Rome itself, I already talked about that in the other video, But this is about the actual cruise experience, right? So getting to the cruise ship from Rome. So the only other time I had to take a train to a cruise ship was over in Long Beach, California, getting off the airport, taking the train over to Long Beach, and then getting myself over to the ship. That was easy peasy. I either walked or took a lift or even take a, no, I don't take a Segway, not Segway, scooter. I've done a scooter, but not getting to the ship. After I've been on the ship and then I got off and went into town, then I took a scooter, but not getting to the ship. So, but listen, friend, the chaos of getting from the train to the ship is either you walk, which is about 1.5 miles. Someone told me it's a mile. It looks like 1.5 miles to me. You can take a shuttle, which you do have to pay for. I was told it was free. It is not free. It is $6 to take that shuttle from the train to the ship and vice versa, taking it back. Either €5 or $6. And then I've done it twice. So I've had the experience of the first time I did it, it was pure chaos, which I talked about in that video. The second time I did it, it was easy peasy. There was nobody else on the shuttle. It was just me and a peer in my group, the YouTube After 40 group. And yeah, it was easy peasy. So it's just a coin toss of whether you're going to have that chaos or if you are going to have a smooth trip. Another thing that I did not like about this trip here is I was on Enchanted Princess and I had just gotten off another cruise ship. I don't remember which one it was, but I'm allergic to capers. And some cruise ships, cruise lines, label the food at the buffet and some don't. This one didn't. I need to know the main ingredients, and so do a lot of other people who have allergy. I know they can't cater to us because majority of people don't have allergies and don't have to worry about this stuff. But the fact that allergies can be so risky for some people, if they eat the wrong thing, having labels on the food in the buffet would be so much more helpful. So obviously if you have an allergy and you're going to eat food, whether you're in the buffet, in the main dining, in specialty dining, wherever you are, you need to tell them about your allergy and you need to ask them, is the food that you're about to consume, or find out if the food you're about to consume has that allergen in it, the thing you're allergic to in it. For me, it's capers, and it's usually an Italian food, so I do try to stay away from Italian food. It's also sometimes in seafood, and I do eat Italian food and I do eat seafood. So it's easier if I'm in the dining room because I tell them I'm allergic to capers, and then they can, talk to the chef, make a note, whatever. In the buffet, it's much different because now you got to go and find somebody. They don't label the ingredients. And again, I've been on some cruise ships and I really wish that they would label, because I was getting ready to get some spaghetti, and that is one of the places where you can find capers. I saw a pot of sauce and it had all these ingredients. You could see mushrooms and olives and capers in it. And then there was another sauce that didn't. So I went to make sure, and I asked someone who was working in the buffet, does this sauce have capers? And they said, no, this one does and this one doesn't. Okay, great. I am in the mood for some spaghetti. I'm going to try this pasta. Friend, I go to get the spaghetti. I scoop up the sauce. And what do I see in the sauce that doesn't have capers? Yes, it had capers. So now I've wasted some food because now, I don't put this spaghetti on my plate. Now I can't even eat it. But yeah, it's not even the fact that it's not labeled. I wish they would label it. It's the fact that I asked people what's in it, if it had the capers, and they told me. This is the second time that they told me on 2 different ships, 2 different occasions. They told me it didn't have it, and it did. So I can't really trust the people who work on the ship anymore, right? So I hate that. Does that mean when I'm living full time on cruise ships, I just can't eat pasta anymore with red sauce or just pasta in general, Italian food. I don't know. We shall see. It's been 2 years and I've survived so far. I haven't had any kind of caper incident. Knock on wood. All right, another thing that I absolutely hated about this cruise experience that I just had was the names on the cabin doors. I like the technology that they have, but the fact that as a solo female traveler, my name and my photo is on the door, which not necessarily even a content creator, which that gives another level of safety that I need to be aware of. But just as a solo female, anyone, I mean, I feel safe on cruise ships, period. Let's make, no mistake about that. But no matter where you are, you still have to have a certain level of safety about you, because things can even happen on cruise ships. People who get on I say people who come to my home, they come to my neighborhood. Before they can come into my neighborhood, they have to show their ID, their passport. The ship has their address, their email address. But we know stupid things still happen on cruise ships, right? So you still have to have safety in mind, especially being solo. Anyone who has any, male or female, who has any intention of doing harm, they can just walk down the hallway. They can see, oh, this is a female and she's in the cabin by herself. Not just me, any female, you know? So yeah, I did not like that. I didn't think of it at the time. I thought of it later after I got off the ship. I do have 2 more Princess cruises coming up. I am going to be asking them. So maybe if you've already been on a Princess cruise or you are on one right now, maybe you can ask. Maybe they can take that information off for your safety. I'm not sure. Let's find out. But yeah, I did hate that. So we're getting down to the last 2 things that I absolutely hated about this last cruise out of Rome. One was, and take this one with a grain of salt, because the customer service on Enchanted Princess was absolutely amazing. 99% my encounters were absolutely great. But the one that mattered the most was my cabin steward. I did not get good service from him at all. First of all, there was hair in the drawers in the cabin. That wasn't a big deal, but 9 times out of 10, the cabin steward is the one who actually cleaned the cabin. And the fact that he didn't even clean the drawers, if that's what happened, whoever cleaned it didn't clean the drawers before I came. That kind of irritated me a little bit, but I could wipe out the drawers, or I could ask them to wipe out the drawers. That was not a big deal. Nobody died, right? As my son would say, but did you die? No. I did ask him, and he cleaned it out. But, so, let me back up a little bit. Normally, when I get on a cruise ship, the cabin steward will either come to you that day or the next day, introduce themselves. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm here as your cabin steward. Please let me know if there's anything that you need. This is the times that I'm working. If you need me, here's my card, or here's the number to dial. All that good stuff. Just making you feel welcome, letting you know that they're there to assist you. This cabin steward, I never saw him the first day. Granted, I was in and out of the cabin, so maybe that wasn't their fault. But I was there the second day. Never knocked on my door. So I was sitting in my cabin. It was around noon, and I had my door propped open with my door stopper because I was waiting for the I had ordered room service, so I was waiting for lunch to come. And he was walking by, and he kind of noticed my door was open, and he stopped, and he goes, "Hey, is everything okay? Do you need anything?" Still haven't introduced himself. And I said, actually, no. I said, these drawers here are dirty. They have hair in them. And before I even got it halfway out, he came in. Well, he said, okay, I'll take care of that. He went, grabbed some towels. He came in. I was just sitting just to see what kind of service he would give me and see if he was going to do all the usual stuff. He did not. He wiped the drawers out, and he said, oh, while I'm here, I'm going to grab the trash. There was no trash. I think I had one little thing that the soap or something was in. It wasn't the soap. I can't remember. It was one little piece of trash. But he grabbed the trash can, went to the bathroom. He looked for that trash can. He grabbed the one can that had one little piece of whatever in it. Went, dumped that out. Still didn't do the intro or nothing. came back with the trash can, put the trash can down, and he finally said, "Hey, my name is," and I don't remember what his name was. He said, "Oh, by the way, I'm your cabin steward. My name is such and such, and let me know if there's anything that I can help you with." And then no, he said, I clean the cabin twice a day. He did say that. He said, "I'm so and so. Let me know if there's anything that you need, and I clean this cabin twice a day." And then that was it. He never asked me my name, never asked me how I was doing or anything else like that. Never asked me if there's anything else I needed outside of the uh, wiping down the drawers. And that was pretty much my experience with him the entire cruise. It was like that. It was um, me kind of asking him did if I needed anything. Most of the time, I don't need my cabin clean, so I would put the privacy thing on. Once I did want the towels and stuff exchanged, so I did leave the cleaning sign on or whatever. And when he came to clean it, I was actually in the cabin, and so I said, "Okay, well, I'll go out to wherever I went out to." Somewhere I went for 30 minutes because I'm like, it's probably gonna take him maybe 5-10 minutes to clean the cabin, but just in case. I ended up doing something, and then I came back. It was 30 minutes later. Dude was still in the cabin. Why are you still in this cabin for 30 minutes? It's just me. I'm not. All you had to do was make up the bed. I wasn't expecting him to vacuum because the floor was still clean, but he did vacuum, change the towels, clean the bathroom. I don't know how long it normally takes, but most times when I leave the cabin, I come back in 10-15 minutes, they're done. So maybe they're just more thorough, about cleaning the cabin, which was fine. The problem was I get back and my clothes are on the floor. I had went for my walk earlier, so I had my leggings and my socks, and I had switched to regular pants and my sandals. So my socks and my leggings were on the bed, and when he made up the bed, whether he threw them down there, whether they fell, I don't know. But he knew that they was on that bed before he made that bed up. And when I come back, my clothes are on the floor, which it didn't really bother me when I first saw it. But then later, I'm an introvert, so I have to think about things and let it kind of settle in. I was like, he should have done that. That was kind of rude. I mean, no harm, no foul, but still, why would you just throw someone's clothes on the floor? So who knows what they're doing in them cabins when you're not there. So yeah, that was another thing that I absolutely hated about this cruise, is that I didn't have a good cabin steward experience. And so someone's going to ask, well, did you still tip them? That kind of stuff with the gratuities. This was a business cruise, and I wanted to set it and forget it. So normally what I do with my gratuities is I remove the gratuities, and then I pay the cabin steward, the dining people along the way as they give me service. I will tip them in cash. I didn't want to do all that in this cruise, so I just left the gratuities on there. So I didn't tip him directly, but I did do the automatic gratuities. And then the last thing that I absolutely hated about this cruise was, now this was Princess, right? I went to only one show. Again, it was a business cruise. I went to network and talk YouTube After 40, talk about YouTube content creation on this cruise. So I wasn't doing my normal thing, but I did want to check out a show. And the one show that I went to, I could only stay 10. I think maybe I was there 10 minutes total. It might have been 15, but it wasn't longer than, it wasn't longer than 15 minutes. I think it was maybe 10 minutes. It did not hold my attention. That show was so boring. I don't know. Maybe it was me. Maybe it's just not my thing. That one show is not my thing. Maybe I'm just used to Royal Caribbean over and above shows and Carnival. It was a little better than Carnival shows. Well, maybe it was right on par with Carnival shows, but it was not as good as I get from Royal Caribbean. So yeah, the show, it just didn't hold my attention. Would I go to another show on another Princess cruise? Maybe. I would try it. But for this experience here, hated it. All right, so those are the the 5 things that I absolutely loved and the 5 things that I absolutely hated about this last cruise experience on Enchanted Princess out of Civitavecchia, Rome. Hopefully that gives you some insight, some things to expect or avoid or indulge in when you go on your next cruise, either on Enchanted Princess, any cruise out of Civitavecchia, Rome, or just a cruise in general. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. I'll try to reply to them as soon as possible. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next cruise.